So this calf had a swelling in its prepuce just ahead of the scrotum, and Jessica noticed it the other day. We just checked it out, palpated it, was not able to tell for sure if it was associated with the penis itself or not, or if it was just free in the prepuce. So went ahead and clipped it up, did a surgical scrub on it, and tried to do an aspirate of the mass. And when we aspirated back, all we got was a very small amount of really dark stained blood. So basically what we have is, rather than pus, if we got pus back, then it would have been an abscess, which we would have needed to open up to drain and get on antibiotics to heal up. Instead, what we have here is a hematoma. So this little guy somehow injured that area, had a bleed, and it appears that that is now in the process of that hematoma being reabsorbed by the body. And so we just need to monitor him to make sure that that does happen, that it is absorbed, because hematomas can turn into abscesses. And so we'll watch for this to gradually reduce in size. If it begins increasing in size again, and or he is acting sick, running a fever, those would be indications that it's turned to an abscess and we would need to lance it and get it open. But for now, we're just going to watch to see if this resolves.
So if this was somebody else's cow and they're new to cows, what does watch it mean? What would do you want them to get a daily temp on it, or pay attention to
daily temperature would be ideal. If that's not practical, just watching, monitoring the size of it, monitoring to make sure that it's still drinking milk from mama, that it's eating, drinking normally, and that it isn't acting depressed. Watching for signs of depression in cattle. Their head will be hanging low, ears down instead of up, and alert, hanging back from the rest of the group. Those are signs of depression that you would watch for to say that it's not going the right way.
So then if that happens, pull it in and call their vet?
Correct.
Okay. Nothing, huh? Tiny little bit of...
So this little L6 calf that we ran in the other day and checked that had a hematoma in its prepuce, tonight its mom is bellering. I don't think this little guy's been nursed, and she's got a full bag, and so running him in to check to see if this thing has turned into an abscess, and if he's running a fever, see if that's something we need to get him on antibiotics and try and lance that thing open. So we're going to check his temperature and see if he's running a fever. same.
I'm videoing, you can see.
I'm still just getting that same dark material. But with that fever going, I think this thing is turning to an abscess, so we're going to go ahead and go open it up and get him on antibiotics.
Okay.
So we're going to treat this little calf. I've chosen to use Resflor Gold, which is a combination of the Nuflor antibiotic and Banamine. So the Banamine in it will help to drop the fever, help him to feel better, and hopefully want to nurse his mother so that she'll quit bellowing, but also will help to drop that fever and just help him feel better, keep eating. And while the Nuflor antibiotic will go to fight that infection in the prepuce.
How long is that good for?
So we're doing a high dose single injection, which you can see on the label here is the 6 cc's per 100 pounds sub-Q. And when we do this one, then we got 72 hours of treatment. Problem with it is, as you can see, it is very thick. And so this one's been sitting out here in the cabinet, and even though it's not especially cold, it's a very thick solution, and so syringeability is not that great with it. It will improve if you warm up the bottle. We haven't had the opportunity to warm up the bottle, so it's just going to be a slow go.
What size needle do you use?
We're using a 16 gauge by 5/8 inch needle because this goes sub-Q just under the skin, so we don't need a very long needle, but the 16 gauge is a pretty wide bore needle. You could go with an even larger, like a 14 gauge, but that leaves a pretty good hole in the skin, then you get a lot of leak back if you go with a 14 gauge needle. So I like to use this 16 gauge because it's large enough that you are able to still get more drawn up, but it doesn't leave as large a hole in the skin, so you have less leakage after you inject. And so we're going to do sub-Q injection. We like to give these injections in the neck. And so we're going to go just right here in front of the shoulder.
Kind of pull the skin back too, don't you?
Yep, so you pop through there to know it's in. And then
Shush.
inject it in. And it doesn't push in any easier than it came into the syringe. And at that 6 cc per 100 pounds, this little guy's gonna need 2, so I'm gonna do 1 in each side. So I'm gonna give this injection on the other side of the neck since I already gave the first injection on this side. And again, with this short needle, it just pops through just under the skin, going sub-Q with this injection. So giving it on an angle with as short of a needle, then you know you're sub-Q rather than in the muscle.
Okay.
So we're going to open up this hematoma that's turned to an abscess on this little guy. So I just take a scalpel blade here and I'm going to make a little handle for it out of the wrapper. gonna have Jessica tail him up for me. Are you sure?
Yeah, fine. I can tail him at the same time.
Okay. So Jessica's gonna tail him up for me to keep him from kicking, hopefully, while I lance this.
May, shush. Okay, buddy. Oh. So painful. May, shh. Shh. Oh, good Lord. Oh, that hurt. Good boy. From here out.
Well, from here out, I'm watching for him to either live or die because there ain't a whole lot more we're gonna do.